Spring in Blowing Rock normally means the start of a new business year with the arrival of visitors and seasonal residents. Rental spaces, parking spaces all fill as shops and restaurants get back to business. But as late winter 2020 began to give way to spring, a change came with the last snow and the first blossoms. We learned new terms like social distancing and new realities of shuttered shops, takeout-only restaurant food, face masks, gloves, and fear coming from a half world away in the form of something called COVID-19. The economic impact from the pandemic came fast and hard as many small business owners were blindsided by the order to shutter their businesses. The timing particularly bad for the small businesses of Blowing Rock, but a local group, the Village Foundation, met to decide how they might help. I'm Steve Frank with the story of the Rock UnitedRelief Fund. Jim Pitts, Village Foundation Chair.
Well, Steve, the Village Foundation is an organization that was formed about 3 years ago with the explicit purpose of providing funding for economic development and business development projects in the town of Blowing Rock. We had the good fortune of having an idea brought to us by Tim Hilton, who was the person who conceived of this idea to create a relief fund that might help the businesses in the town of Blowing Rock. He mentioned it to John Aldridge. John Aldridge is on the board of the Village Foundation and was essentially the founder of the Village Foundation. And he brought it to our board, and we quickly refocused our efforts away from current project-based fundraising towards what can we do to create a relief fund, a business relief fund for the businesses in Blowing Rock.
And as Jim was saying, we were focused on our next big project in Blowing Rock, and in fact had it preliminarily approved by the Town Council of Blowing Rock when the COVID-19 virus came upon us. And we had, in fact, been thinking, Charles Harden, the head of our Chamber of Commerce here in Blowing Rock, and I had already been talking about what our focus should be going forward as the Chamber focuses on businesses and as we focused on projects in Blowing Rock. About that time, Tim Hilton, a friend and resident of Blowing Rock, called me one morning and said, "John, we need to do something to help our businesses." Having come up with the idea, it's always a danger to come up with an idea in Blowing Rock because it'll come back on you. So I called him back and said, "I think this is what we should do. Great idea. I want you to chair the Grants Review Committee."
Well, the Village Foundation, with John Aldridge's leadership, was able to raise in excess of $100,000. And when you consider that that's coming from a GoFundMe page where you're getting $50 to $100, all the way to people that are giving a few $1,000s, it was a very nice broad mix of contributions throughout the community and really represented a ground roots effort that really made a big difference. At the same time, we received 44 applications, and all of those combined were well in excess of what we had raised. It would always be nice to have been able to raise more, so we had to make decisions as to how we were going to provide those grants. Fortunately, we were able to make 33 grants, totaling year to date or to date $97,000. Because we have committed to distribute all of the money raised, 100% of it, we are going to continue to make grants, provide grants, and review the needs of those that have come to us, and we will distribute all of that. The Village Foundation is paying for the expenses and absorbing. The expenses are very low. There's not that many expenses involved, but those expenses that are incurred are being paid for by the Village Foundation and not out of the Rock UnitedRelief Fund.
These folks here really are, they do have it right, that that they are part of a community that really loves this town. And the Chamber's byline is Love Blowing Rock, as you know. So they know that there are a lot of folks out there that love this community, and some of them don't even live here. That when we set up the GoFundMe page, there were a lot of people that came in on the GoFundMe page with a couple $100 donation that were just visitors that saw it and said, yes, how can we help? We're fortunate that way. I don't think that exists in other communities. So, not to the degree it does here.
And we were so very appreciative to, for people we didn't even know to come up and say, we're going to help you guys out. I mean, you just don't get that very often. And you can't imagine how grateful we are.
But I can, good neighbors, good friends. And, thank to everyone in Bowling Rock for the support. To me, that's a lot. There is a lot.
If you're a quilter or a crafter or you like handmade things, this is the kind of shop that you seek out. And so, I debated a little bit about, is that something that I need to apply for? And I looked at the application and I spoke with a couple folks and realized, this is something that could really help. And then I saw the fundraising efforts and realized that, wow, folks are being so generous. People who have no idea who I am, or, they don't know my name, they don't know my family, they don't know, my history or why I started this, but they're believing in me and they're excited for, what downtown Blowing Rock is. They believe in what downtown Blowing Rock has to offer. And as a small business owner, that was just a boost, just to know that, there are people out there who haven't met me who believe in what I'm doing and want to support me and want to see me on the other side.
Even with this remarkable response, there is still need, and the Rock United Relief Fund is still reaching out to help others. Google the Rock United Relief Fund and click on the Donate tab to the top right, and you too can help make a difference in this crisis. You can also share this story and help spread the word.